The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. And welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Azzy, and I'm joined by the guy that I always text whenever I'm on the golf course, Regz.
Hi, buddy. Hey.
How's it going?
I'm doing great.
Can you tell I got some sun? Can you see it?
I can.
Yeah.
I can.
If you're on YouTube, you can see it. I had the sunglasses on the course yesterday.
Yeah. I played golf when it was just really rainy, so I avoided that completely. I was very layered, and the sun was not a factor.
Yeah, sun was out in full force yesterday. I was in short sleeves. It was awesome.
There you go. That's the way to do it.
Awesome.
You did it the right way. I did not.
Try, you do what you can and hope that it pans out, and it did. It panned out beautifully.
There you go.
It panned out beautifully. So, Regz, I think we have a lot to do tonight, and there's so much Eagles stuff to talk about. We're gonna play a fun little Phillies game tonight, and I want to jump in. I want to do the free agent stuff, but I also, before we do, want to mention that the Eagles are under investigation. Regz, they're, leave it to. It only took how many years, but someone from Penn State decided to be a whistleblower just a little too late and about something that doesn't matter.
Saquon said it was a misunderstanding in his press conference. Everything's fine.
I'm sure it was a misunderstanding.
Stupid Penn State people.
Unbelievable.
See, I can say that. I have no relatives and or in-laws that care about Penn State.
I'm going to tell you right now, many of the people that I know that are Penn State fans don't like him anyway.
There you go.
So say whatever you want. For those of you that don't know, it's pretty new. It came out today that they were under investigation. But during his press conference, whatever it was for, James Franklin mentioned that he had talked to Saquon Barkley, and that Saquon had said when Howie called him to talk to him about coming to Philly, he mentioned, coming back home, which puts red flags up everywhere because they're not supposed to talk before free agency, which is an absolute joke and not something that people follow at all. So the Eagles are under investigation along with the Falcons at this point. That's what's happening. Regz, here's my thing. I tweeted this today, by the way, if you're not following at the Mic Drop 5. If we're going to say, oh, well, James Franklin said this happened. Cool. That's evidence, whatever. You know what else is evidence? DeAndre Swift signing a 3-year deal with this much guaranteed, with up to this much as a possibility, with this being the year that they can get out of it, 7 minutes into free agency. Regz, I texted you 7 minutes into free agency that DeAndre Swift was no longer an Eagle. It was 12:07. I looked back at my text to you.
It's really, it's really just who can keep their mouth shut. That's really just what it comes down to. Like, as long as nothing gets out there, I think everybody understands what's going on here.
And freaking James Franklin has nothing to do with anything.
Of course. Stupid Penn State people.
Here's what I'll say. If the Eagles get any sort of consequence that involves a draft pick, James Franklin, James. I don't know. I'm going to stop there. But come on. They better not lose a draft pick, Regz.
Then all the Jeffrey Lurie should, remove some funding from Penn State. I'm sure he doesn't give any, but he just go there and just be like, I'm taking this. This is mine now.
I'm taking the whole team.
This is now now Jeffrey Lurie Stadium. You cost me a third-round draft pick.
I swear the heavens.
This is now Jeffrey Lurie Stadium.
If we lose one of those top 100 picks, I am going to flip my lid. I'm going to flip my lid.
It's ridiculous. They won't be able to prove it because James Franklin has no idea what he's talking about.
Let's hope. So free agency has continued. We had a pretty active day yesterday. Tuesday was a bit active.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday was a little more active.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about who they brought back. Rick Lovato is back, long snapper.
Great.
Braden Mann back, 2-year deal.
Wonderful.
Jake the Make Elliott back, 4-year deal, highest paid kicker in the NFL.
Thank God.
All three things are wonderful.
Yes.
When you have a group of special teamers that work the way that these three did, like you got to remember the whole snap, hold, kick thing matters, and Jake was clearly comfortable with the Braden Mann hold. Like Braden Mann was really good for them, but this is well deserved for Jake.
Yeah.
This is so well deserved.
Absolutely. He's earned it completely.
So well deserved, man. Like,
Yeah.
incredibly talented kid who I heard a story tonight as I was driving back from the golf simulator that Jake Elliott became a kicker during tennis practice when he was asked to leave tennis practice to try and kick a field goal, and then he kicked a field goal, and that was when he became a kicker
In high school?
in high school.
There you go.
Zach Berman told a very short version of that.
Yeah.
Probably shorter than what I just told. It made a lot more sense when he said it too. But it's crazy to think, like, we almost didn't have Jake Elliott, and Jason Peters almost killed Jake Elliott. So, when he told him miss another one and see what happens. And Jake hasn't missed a whole lot since then.
He has not. That is very true.
So super fortunate.
It's great to lock him down. Yeah.
Such an important position. When you have a guy who's making 61-yard field goals in the pouring down rain.
Yeah.
In the middle of Philadelphia.
To send a game to overtime. Like not just in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Like with zeros on the clock.
Yep.
To go into overtime.
Yeah, it's just such a different level of good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
so very fortunate to have him. Very fortunate to have him, and happy to have Braden Mann back, who was a revelation in the punting game last year.
Yeah.
And completed a pass.
There you go. That's right.
Against the Cowboys. All right. Other things that they did. They went and signed Devontae Parker, which cool.
Yeah. Cool.
There was you had said that there was a tweet about like his separation stats and stuff like that. Bo Wolf kind of went against those stats and stood up for Parker a little bit, saying that this is what he does. He's the type of receiver who catches the ball in traffic.
Right.
That's why you have him.
Yeah.
Look, man, he is not the Devontae Parker of 5 years ago. Let's just put that out there right now. It's not who they're getting. I don't know that he makes the team, Regz. Like,
yeah.
But if he makes the team and he's your Julio Jones, fine.
Yeah.
I don't know that I don't really know that I have a whole lot of thoughts here.
I don't think we need to make this a bigger deal than it is. It's like you said. It's someone who might make the team. If he plays well and he makes the team, good for him. Yeah. Hopefully he can contribute, but there's not a ton of expectation here.
No. They also signed Matt Hennessy, former Falcon interior offensive lineman. And, I did a little looking into this because I wanted to see what his draft projection was. Interestingly enough, his measurables, they were freakishly athletic. 75 percentile in the 20-yard shuttle, 86 percentile in the cone drill, 85 percentile in the broad jump, 73 percentile in the vertical jump, and 67th percentile in the 40-yard dash. And basically, Regz, what that said to me was he's a freak athlete for that size, that position. What does Jeff Stoutland love? Athletes, right?
Yeah.
And then I went and I looked at who else was drafted around that time and other linemen that the Eagles drafted. Freakishly, and someone actually ended up tweeting this, he's very similar to Isaac Seumalo.
Interesting.
from his draft stuff. So I think this is a guy they brought in to kind of push Tyler Steen. I don't think, again, I wouldn't shock me if they picked up another, someone else, like Opeta came back. Like, that's still on the table.
Yeah.
But this is the type of move that you make as like, all right, well, let's see. He can come in and compete. Worst case scenario, you've got a really experienced and talented backup center.
Right. That's the biggest thing that I saw people talking about is that, look, we all want, who is it?
Cam Jurgens.
Thank you. Cam Jurgens to like do well. Like we know he was a center, so all indications are that he will be fine.
Yeah.
But knock on wood, if it's just not working out, you now have someone who I think has made like, what was it, like 77 appearances in the NFL and has snapped like as a center. So you have someone who has a ton of experience snapping the ball.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just good planning to just make sure that you have somebody like that around.
Right.
Just in case. It's not for anything that they don't want.
No, and I think it's fair to say that Cam has had some injury issues early in his career. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he's going to have to miss a game or two here or there, and you're going to need somebody who can snap the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Hennessy Matt Hennessy was an All-American at Temple. Like, he's a really good player. And a nice piece of depth that we talked about them needing in terms of the offensive line. So another good move that, again, we're not going to hang here too long. So then we're sitting around and we're like, all right, well, still need safety and still need linebacker. Those would be things we want, right? Safety came first, and it came in the form of an old friend. Welcome back, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Regz, it feels like he should have never left. We wanted him back last year. We had a little bit of a beef with him when he was talking crap from Detroit. Feels like a lot of mea culpas have happened, right? Like Howie has owned his thing and CJ has owned his thing. And look, the deal to me is very much, you got to be on the field to make your money, Chauncey. And we know if he's on the field, the type of playmaking ability he brings to the table and the type of attitude he brings to the table. I'll tell you right now, if those Niners walked through that team warming up and Chauncey was on the field, it would have ended in fists. They lacked toughness this year, man. They lacked it big time. And he brings a level of toughness. He brings a level of grit. He brings a level of attitude. And above all else, dude's a straight playmaker. He goes and gets the ball. He makes plays in the secondary. And you find him sort of navigating like the beginning of his prime right now. It's all about staying healthy and on the field for him. He missed games as an Eagle. He missed games as a Lion. How are you feeling about Chauncey?
I'm did the numbers ever come out for like the cap stuff on like what the actual?
I'll try and pull it up right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
I haven't looked today.
Okay.
So.
While you're looking that up, I'm in the middle.
Okay.
Look, we all remember how well he played in the beginning of 2022. What do you have, like almost 6 interceptions or something like that? And he was just all over the place. Mm-hmm. For a defense that that defense, had a ton of turnovers. And it's something that we severely lacked last year on defense, was the ability to cause the other team to turn the ball over. So that's a great thing. To have somebody like that as just a threat in the secondary is great. The injury thing is concerning. He's a smaller safety, but I guess your hope with that is that Reed is more of the guy who should be running downhill and making a lot of those tackles. Same with Sidney Brown. Like, those guys are meant to step up in the box and make more of those plays. So hopefully he's kind of out of a lot of those. And there isn't a great need for him to be that guy. I do appreciate that there's versatility with him being able to like play the nickel position when he needs to, or when they might ask him to. Yes, this team needed some sort of identity on defense, whatever it was going to be, and they never really found one. Again, there were a lot of reasons for that. I'm hopeful that his attitude is able to like be put in the right direction, and that this doesn't become a thing where like him and Fangio butt heads. Like, I'm hopeful that they're able to work together well. Again, they're people. You're not going to agree on every single thing that happens. It's fair enough. But I'm hoping that it doesn't become like a thing. That
Right.
Vic's trying to make him do one thing to fit into the scheme. Chauncey has his own ideas about what he should be doing with something. And like, it just becomes this struggle that frankly, this team just doesn't need right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
everyone needs to figure out how to make this work.
Right.
And make it work together.
I still don't have a number on it, Riggs.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I was just curious. I know we were talking about it the other day.
Yeah. I see the other guys, but he hasn't been updated on here yet.
I got you. So again, I don't think we're paying him 11 million. I don't think the hit's like $11 million.
It's not.
Like you said, it's very much like you have to earn this by staying on the field and playing and, being effective and things like that. So that's great. I think I'm on the side of like, man, I really wish this kind of was one of the places we made a big splash. Like, again, I know we were going for McKinney, things like that. I think I would like to have Simmons over CJ just because of like the coverage ability is so good. Like, Simmons is so good at it. I understand the age difference is a big deal, but I think safeties age a little bit better than, let's say, like corners at 30 plus. So I think that's factoring into like my kind of it, and it's not necessarily like CJ's fault. It's like, it's kind of just anybody outside of that, what you might consider like top tier safety, you know what I mean, of this free agent class. You're just kind of like, man, would have been really nice to like nail it down with like just an absolute stud. But look, if he can stay healthy, I'm hopeful that we can see the guy who was here for the first half of 2022, because that guy was an absolute menace and like was playing fantastic.
Yeah, I still don't think that I'm ready to call him out on another safety. Will that be Simmons? I don't know. It's very clear to me though that Howie's plan was, let's get some guys in here that could potentially be 2-3 year guys that are still in their prime.
Yes.
That's why they went so hard after McKinney. That's why they went so hard after Bryce Huff. It's why, the linebacker that they ended up getting, even though I think they were in on some other guys, ends up being a 26-year-old with a ton of upside. I think the goal here is, let's get younger and have a set defense for 2 to 3 years, so that we're not, playing this plug and play type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, and like everything you said, yes. And it is okay to have this guy, knowing or thinking that I still think they're going to add a corner through a trade. I believe that fully. And if you're good at that level, then it allows Chauncey to run around and play ball hawk, which he's really good at.
Yeah.
Because of his corner instincts. So look, I think there were places to make a splash. Safety was one. However, I do appreciate the gentle nod to let's make sure that, you know, we can carry some money over and not be in a cap issue because that's what happened last year. They couldn't sign anybody. They could not sign anybody.
Yeah.
And they ended up because they were in a little bit of a cap squeeze. Like they had money, but they had enough money to sign Zach Cunningham, essentially.
And I think we'll talk about this with the linebacker next, but like I can appreciate the age profile of these particular guys. Like you said, you're trying to just find guys who could be around for a few years. I think where I'm sure some people's hesitation is that we are rolling the dice in a sense of like, we need these guys to like be really good. And like CJ's coming off playing 3 games for the Lions.
Yep.
Which is tough. Again, injuries happen all the time, but like it's tough. And there's just not, I don't know a better way to put it outside of there's not a ton of sure things on the defense.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential upside.
Right.
Listen, outside of like, I think Jordan Davis is going to be very, very good. Or Jordan Davis is going to be good. And I think Jalen Carter is going to be very, very good. Like, I really do. And again, like, depending on how the Reddick Sweat thing works out, it kind of leads into still, like, you talk about Nakobe Dean coming back. Like, you're hopeful that he can stay healthy. You're talking about now the corners. Like, you're hoping Slay can play well again at 31. And that some of your young guys can step up and play well. And now you're hoping that CJ can stay healthy. You're hoping that Reed takes another step. You're hoping that Sidney Brown, coming off an ACL injury, you know, will still continue to get better. You just look around as it stands right now. There's not a bunch of like, man, we got these like 2 or 3 guys that we just know like are really, really freaking good and are gonna just like, we don't have to worry about that. Like, I don't have to worry about that position. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it's one of those things. Again, a lot can change. And look, it's sports. Like, you're always relying on somebody playing well. Like, that's just, it's just how it goes.
Yeah. The other thing to consider here is that, you know, you if you're the Eagles, do you look at your sure thing as the veteran defensive coordinator that you brought in, and his sure thing is putting these guys in the position to succeed, because we've talked about it, and I stand firmly on this. You need a top 18 defense for this team to be a contender. Like, you need a couple of stops a game for this team to be a contender.
Yeah.
Just because of how loaded this offense is.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you. None of this happens without Vic Fangio saying okay. Like,
and
none of these signings happen without him being consulted and them having a plan on how to use these particular guys that they're signing.
Yes. So I you know, the funny thing about football is there is no sure thing, period, right? Like, anything could happen at any time.
Outside of Patrick Mahomes, maybe.
Correct. You know, but like, there's always the question of what if in any sport. So, you know, you put enough talent on the field, you've got a head coach whose floor, you know, is, my opinion, a top 20 defense, whose ceiling is a top 8 defense. You know, what he did with the very injured Dolphins team is still incredible.
It's exactly like you said, and we even talked about it, I think, when Fangio first got signed. It's like, his job is to not be the worst 5 defenses in the NFL.
History.
Like, yes. That too. But like, just be, like you said, in the
Pretty competent.
in the 13 to 18 range.
If they were competent last year, they win a playoff game.
Yes.
Or
they win against Seattle, or they win against any of those games.
They have a bye, like just any competence. So
yeah,
let's get to the linebacker.
All right.
Devon White. I read a tweet tonight from Zach Berman, and it said that it's funny because the Eagles never draft first round running backs, they never draft first round linebackers, safeties, whatever. There have been 2 top 5. One top 5 running back chosen, one top 5 linebacker chosen since like I want to say he wrote like 2006. I'm gonna have to like look up the date again, but it's been a pretty hefty amount of time. And the Eagles have them both on their roster now. One was Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
The other is Devon White. So Devon White is an interesting signing, man. Like super interesting because Devon White is about as freak-ish of an athlete as they come. But teams had started to use his aggression against him over the course of the last football season. Like teams were really using his aggression to their advantage.
Yeah.
I think, this is a deal that helps both teams immensely. The Eagles never get this sort of projectable athleticism at the position. They never look that direction.
Yeah.
So this helps them because his value is so low right now that his type of athleticism, if it was paired to production, would be priced way out of what they want to spend. But he might be able to give them a year of pretty good production based on his athleticism and Fangio's defense. I mean, he's a really good pass defender. It was the run where he got torched because of his aggression. So this deal works for both of them because, for the Eagles, it's all right, we can add a position of true athleticism and prowess to our room for not a lot of money because it's like up to $7.2 million. It's not even guaranteed. And for him, it's I got to reestablish my value. So this is a place where I'm going to get to play. And it's a defense that's hopefully going to keep it simple for my position. And I can show my athleticism off. He is better than anything they had last year, albeit not good in Tampa.
Yeah.
He was benched in Tampa, I believe.
Yeah. I was listening to, Zach and Bo talk about him.
Okay, yeah, I haven't listened to their new.
They went live at like 9:30, so I was just listening to them quickly before we jumped on.
Okay, and I know that they talked about him beforehand, and that they both kind of said, we can talk ourselves into. It's not going to be hard to talk ourselves into him, considering what they've had in the past. But I like it from a distance. I think I got to dig into it a little bit more, but the talent, the projectables are all there. They've not ever had someone with this type of athleticism. I can't remember the last time they've had someone with this type of athleticism at the position. So to me, I'm good. He's a blitzer, which is fun. I'm hopeful, man. Like this is the type of move you make when you're hoping to turn someone's career around and use that to your advantage on both sides. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to try to admit that I know a bunch about this guy. Like from what Bo and Zach were saying, it's that from everything you heard about the Tampa stuff, it was like he wanted a new contract. He didn't get it. He started just kind of doing whatever he wanted on the field. And that of course didn't sit well with his coaches.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like you said, this is not only a guy trying to prove himself on the field, but also off the field as like a teammate. And again, he's coming to a place with a guy who's not going to take a bunch of crap from people.
Yeah.
And hopefully he sees in this scheme a way to use his athleticism and his ability to play well and doesn't think he has to improvise or get ahead of himself, which it seems like from what you're saying is kind of when teams start to sniff him out because he can get too aggressive and overcommit to something and things like that. And this team just desperately needs people to be where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like Vic's scheme should put people in the right position, like you said, to be able to make plays. And like we just desperately need people to do what they're supposed to be doing, and and just be in spots they're supposed to be in to stop things.
Yeah, I think some of this comes down to, can they discipline him? Can he? Because Vic is all about preparation.
Yeah.
So if they can discipline him, then I do feel good about it, man. Like I do. I look at it as, this is a guy who can change a game. His athleticism can change a game. He can be a difference maker. Unlike anything we've seen from the position since the days of Jeremiah Trotter.
Yeah.
Like now you go draft one. And look, here's the other thing, Regz. If Zach Cunningham doesn't find a place to be between now and like, the draft, maybe he comes back on the cheap. Now your room looks okay. Like now your room fills out a little bit. Like Nakobe Dean will get hurt. Zach Cunningham, when healthy last year, was fine. If he's your third linebacker,
yeah, it's almost
fine.
It's almost hard to judge with how much turmoil that defense was going through.
Yeah, but like I'm talking early when they were playing well.
Yeah,
Zach Cunningham was fine.
Yeah.
No one was complaining about Zach Cunningham.
Yeah.
It only got to be a thing when they had to go sign like Shaq Leonard and like
Moreau
they
had
were
to play all the time.
Right. Who just a mess. Like, so I know that's like far beyond, but they're at a point now where they've got 2 linebackers, 2 starters, and Zach Bond, right? He counts, I guess, a little. And they've got what's his name? Shoot. It'll come to me. But the guy who was forced into playing against the Giants from the practice squad. He was a safety in the Big Ten, and I'm just drawing a blank.
No, I have no idea.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts. I'll find it then. But look, what did we want before free agency started? We wanted a safety, check. An edge, check. A linebacker, 2 of them, check. Wanted some offensive line depth, check. Wanted to extend Braden Mann, done. Wanted to extend Elliott, done. Wanted to extend Dickerson, done. Still have to trade one of Reddick and Sweat.
Yeah.
Today it sounds like it's Sweat and only Sweat, from what I've read.
I didn't read anything on it today, so
yeah. Today it sounds like it's Sweat and only Sweat, which would leave you Reddick, Huff, Graham, and Smith. Which that could be fun, Regz. That could be fun.
Yeah. I mean, look, you have to think that they're going to make an investment maybe in the draft or something. Like Howie loves him some line. So, either way, you would think they would probably keep going back to that well more often than not, draft wise.
Yeah.
And again, they need to, like, look, you don't know if Hassan's going to be back. Brandon Graham is obviously, this is the last year. Like, you need to get younger, and, you have to sort of keep that farm system fresh, for a baseball reference.
I love it. I love a good bit. Ben Van Sumeren. That's
there you go.
Goodness gracious.
There you go.
But they have it. They have and like him. So just another name to. He's super athletic. He's just got to learn how to play the position. So we'll see. We'll see, man. It's going to be a fun. They're not done. They're adding a corner. Just mark my words on that.
All right.
That's him. So, all right. Hey, let's have some fun with the Phils now.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. With 2 weeks from today being opening day, thought we'd have a little fun with a game I'm calling This or That. So I'm gonna give Regz 2 choices, and he's got to decide which is the more likely to happen. It's not what do you want to happen, which is the more likely. Now, there are some that are stretches. There are some that are just kind of built around the player, and sort of what you come to expect of them. I'll give a little context before each one, or as I name each one. Regz is going to choose which one is likelier. I'll give what I think my answer. We'll try to track, where we land
Yeah.
here. This could be a little difficult, but could be a lot of fun at the same time. So let's start here. We've got 2 players. Okay. This or that, which is likelier to happen? Trey Turner will steal 50 bases, or Alec Bohm will hit 30 home runs. Which of those is likelier to happen?
Trey will steal 50 bases.
Trey will steal 50 bases. So the reason that I went there is we all know that Trey's perfect 30 for 30 last year.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't look comfortable early on. He wasn't getting on
for
base
sure.
a ton.
Yeah.
So clearly that number can take a huge jump this year. Bomer reached 20 home runs for the first time in his career. There was a little more power. Every year we feel like we're seeing a little bit more from him. So I put the number at 30 just to see if you would take that jump. Both were a jump. 30 stolen bases to 50, 20 home runs to 30. Both are a jump.
Yeah. My reasoning is that I think, like you said, Trey's first half of the year was bad in all aspects.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really till he started feeling comfortable did he start taking bags. And then you saw how his ability kicked in, like going 30 for 30. So I even think they've talked about it in the spring, like when they interviewed Trey a couple of games ago, when they had stolen a few bases in spring training. They're like, look, like we're trying to be more aggressive, like the guys that we know can do it, to do it some more and take advantage of these rules and things like that. So
yeah, I do agree with you. When I did this, I kind of looked back and forth like, I kind of want to give it to Bomer, but
yeah,
I do think the likelier is Trey.
Yeah.
All right. So we both got Trey, the more likely at 50 stolen bases.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Okay. Let's do this one. Although I think I know your answer after what we talked about last week. So I'm gonna do a little bit of all right. Yes. We're gonna do this. Which is likelier? Whichever center fielder is the starting center fielder. It's Pache or it's Rojas. Let's do it this way. The combination of center fielder.
Got it.
Rojas, Pache.
Center field as a position, not a person.
Center field is a position, not a person. Excluding Brandon Marsh.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll have a combined average of 235 or better. Or Brandon Marsh will hit 290 or better.
I am going to take the center fielder because I think Pache, as I've said, will play most of the games there, and I think he is capable of hitting better than 235.
Look, man, I'm going to go with my Marsh thing. You know how I'm feeling.
I do know how you're feeling about Marshy. Your bold prediction.
I'm going to go.
That's right. You'd better pick that based on your prediction. He better be hitting at least that.
Absolutely. I feel this. His first game yesterday, he hit 2 balls on the screws yesterday. I mean, he was over 2, but both those balls were hit.
What do you say? The greatest over 2 ever?
Yeah. Both of those balls were hit on the
and the knee looked good sprinting in for that little blooper too.
Yeah, he's gonna be an absolute cheat code in left field, Regz. Okay, let's do this one. I love this one. Which is likelier? Ranger Suarez will start 30 games.
Oh, okay.
Or Taijuan Walker will reach 15 wins.
Ranger.
Really?
Yeah.
So why? Because he's just not been able to do it.
I know.
So why?
I'm putting some faith.
Like
I'm putting some faith in Ranger. Okay. And I don't think Taijuan Walker is going to be on the good side of those wins.
He won 18 games.
I know. Look, and I guess if I think the Phillies are going to do better as a whole, I guess I'm not sure why I'd be going against someone winning more. Maybe
wins is a dumb stat. It took me a lot to put it.
Maybe I just think that like Christopher Sanchez is going to get a lot of like all the Taijuan Walker wins, and Taijuan's just going to like he's just going to be on the other side of these weird games where he gives up 4 runs in the first inning, and then never gave up a run again. Like that, it was the weirdest 18 wins like you've ever seen in your whole life.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm going Taijuan just to have some fun.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna go with Ranger being healthy the whole season and being able to pitch that much.
He had a weird start today. He walked 4 guys.
He did, yeah.
That was an odd, that's an odd.
I mean,
situation.
we know there are those times where Ranger just gets like a little bit off for whatever reason, and the command goes, and like you can almost tell in the first inning how the rest of the day is going to go with Ranger.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looked like he kind of fought back. I don't think he gave up any runs while he was in there, right?
No, it's just weird to see him walk.
Oh, yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, can't you think back to a bunch of times where it's the first inning and he walks 2 guys and you and I text each other like, oh, boy, here we go. Like, it's going to be one of those Ranger days.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Yep. Okay. How about this one? Kirkering will have 20 saves.
Okay.
Or Sir Anthony will have 20 saves. I'm going Kirkering.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now.
I think that's where I'm leaning also, because I buy into your theory of he will have more opportunities in the 9th inning, not because they're necessarily making him the closer, but because they've used all the other guys earlier in tougher spots.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that's what it's going to come down to. I think they're going to want to use Sir Anthony in those types of spots.
Yes.
And I do think Kirkering will eventually settle into it too.
Yeah. I buy into your theory of that. I buy into that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your buying into my theory.
You don't have many. Right. You don't have many that I don't buy into. Let's be honest.
I appreciate it. I don't think you know how much I appreciate it. Okay. This is a fun one. Okay. Which is likelier? The Phillies will have 4 relievers with 10 plus saves, or 5 hitters, 5 regulars with 20 plus home runs.
How many saves did you say again for the relievers? 10?
10. 4 relievers with 10 plus saves, or 5 regulars with 20 plus home runs. Let's talk about how you can get there. Okay?
Yeah.
So for your regulars, Harp, Schwarber, those are almost guaranteed 20s.
Castellanos,
right?
Turner.
Castellanos. Yeah, Turner. And I guess JT.
Yeah, I don't know what JT's homer numbers are.
So is the better number 6 for this one? Because if you're saying those 5 I think those 5 are pretty much, you could say almost locks for 20.
Yeah, has JT been hitting 20 home runs a year?
I think he had 20 last year, yeah.
I'm looking this up.
Let me look.
Hold on.
All right, you're looking up. I'm going to change it to 6. I feel like that's an easy, because then you got to depend on Bomer getting to 20.
Yeah, no, I get that's the point. Like the point of the thing is to be like, well, maybe Stott or Bomer or someone, Marshy even, like get to 20. So I get you there. Let's see here, JT.
And those 5 feel like they're almost locks to get there.
All right. 1, 2, 3. JT's only done it 4 times. Okay. He has done it the last 2 years, though. 22 and 20 on the dot the last 2 years.
Yeah, I'm going to put 6.
Okay.
And then in the bullpen, Kirkering, Sir Anthony, Alvarado, Soto. Those would be your 4 guys. I feel like that's a little more difficult to navigate to get to 10 saves each.
I agree.
So I'm going to leave it there.
I wanted pick the reliever thing because one of my bold predictions was that they will have a National League leading ERA, which I think will lead to whoever is out there getting saves,
Okay.
and not blowing them.
That's fine. I'll take the home runs.
Yep, I'm sticking with my bold prediction. I gotta keep with the take. Give me the relievers.
All right. Yeah, I'll take the hitters. That's fun. That's a fun one to follow.
That is a fun one.
All right. How about this one?
I hope both happen, by the way.
Yeah, me too. Which one's likelier? Or which one will be higher? This one's a little different.
Okay.
JT's batting average with runners in scoring position, or Nick Castellanos' batting average with runners in scoring position.
Oh God.
You're welcome.
Jeez. Oh man. I'm okay. This is kind of like reverse jinxing something. I'm saying Nick Castellanos because I'm trying to put it into the universe that Nicky is going to give us like a full season one of these years of this contract. All right. The best.
I'm gonna go JT just so we're opposite sides. And you know how I feel about JT. I'm doing what you're Nick,
yes,
I'm doing
exactly.
With JT.
Yep. We're covering all bases here.
We are reversing course because of how we feel about both of these guys. Like we are reversing the curse. I knew you'd love
that was a really good one.
That's a fixated, like...
If you don't think I've pictured every double play I've seen of JT ending an inning with runners on first and second, then you're not in my head.
So oddly enough, I had made this list before last show. And I already know your answer to this one.
Okay.
So we're just going to call it out because it was who's going to play more games in center field, Nick, Christian Pache or Johan Rojas. So we both...
I jumped the gun on you there with my bold predictions.
Good. It just shows that we're on the same page. All right. We've got 3 more left.
All right.
Let's do this one. Which is likelier? The Phillies, their first 31 games we're looking at here.
Okay.
Which is likelier? They finish over 500 in those first 31 games or under 500. And here's why this question's interesting. They are, for as long as I remember, this organization gets off to slow starts. Their first 31 games this year. Let me run through who they play in these first 31 games for the people. Okay, this is what makes it interesting because we know they're slow starters. But 3 with Atlanta, 7 with Cincinnati, 3 with Washington, 3 with St. Louis, 4 with Pittsburgh, 3 with Colorado, 3 with the White Sox, 3 with San Diego, 3 with the Angels. Those are not good baseball teams.
I'll take over 500 for 600, please, Alex. And you want to know why? Regardless of the schedule, I think Trey and Bryce are coming for blood this year.
Yeah,
I think those 2 guys can carry the team for a month playing those teams that we're talking about.
The reason it's so important this year is because they don't get to make up that ground against these bad teams.
Right.
So like they've got to get off to a good start.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at this when I made that one. This was the one I was making before the show started. And I'm thinking about it from like this, the angle is what is the number I'd be happy with, right? I mean, 500 it's great. Yes, of course I want them to be 500. I would love, like, if they came out of it 16-15, though, I'm not feeling great. Like, I'm like, oh crap, we're 16-15 coming out of what should have been.
I want
like 20-11.
That's you read my mind. That's literally what I was about to say.
Or 21-10.
I said I want at least 20-11.
Yeah, and like that's really important.
And also because you know why else? because we think they have a chance maybe to win the division because the Braves like can't possibly have career seasons all the time.
Right.
And hopefully they come back to the pack a little bit, and they don't go through that stretch of games being anything less than 20-11.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the past.
Yeah,
We're just talking about in the past. Like the Atlanta Braves don't go through that stretch.
You're right.
Like close to 500.
You're right. And then like it doesn't like taper off because they have 4 at home with San Francisco, who's a good but not great team. 2 at home against Toronto. Then they get 3 with Miami and 4 with the Mets.
Yeah.
And 3 with Washington. That's like through May. Like they could easily build a nice lead that they can sustain. I don't know what the Brave schedule looks like, but it's there for the taking for them.
Yeah, right.
It really is. All right, we got 2 more. So we're both on the 20 wins or the over 500. All right.
Yes.
These last 2 are my favorites. The Phillies, which is likelier. I have to ask every time. It makes it fun. The Phillies will have 6 or more Gold Glove finalists, not winners, finalists.
Okay.
6 or more Gold Glove finalists. Or they will have 6 or more Silver Slugger finalists. Actually, I'm gonna change this because that's easy. That's easy for them. Let's say they'll have 6 or more Gold Glove finalists, or 4 or more Silver Slugger winners.
The winners makes it tough.
Mm-hmm. I have to change it on my paper.
I'm still gonna go Silver Slugger.
Ooh. Are you? Okay, tell me who will be your win. Obviously, Bryce.
Trey
wins one. Trey wins one.
I think JT wins one.
JT.
And then the last one would be either. I'm gonna. Third base is so tough.
Yeah, Austin Riley.
It's got to be at that point. It's got to be Stott or Casty.
Yeah. Okay. Schwartz.
Can you win Silver Slugger for DH?
I think there is one.
I don't think he's not going to get
sure.
enough hits, so I'm going to say no.
Yeah, that's fair. I have him hitting 220 this year though. All right, I'm going with the Gold Gloves. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Stott, JT, Harp, whoever the hell's playing center field.
Yeah.
If Rangers pitch in 30 games, he's going to be a finalist for a Gold Glove. Wheeler was a finalist, won it this year. That's 6 right there. Don't forget B playing left field.
Yeah.
There's 7.
Yep.
I feel like that's the number. Like, that's the number for finalists. I was debating is 6 or 7 the fair number. 7 might be but 6 feels right because it's hard to get in as a pitcher. Like a lot of things have to go because you have the innings limits and stuff like that.
Right.
So they have 5 position players who I think will be up for a Gold Glove, and then at least 1 pitcher.
Like you said, that goes right with your defensive run saved prediction.
Right in it. I'm right in it. All right, last one, Regz. Which is likelier? I'll let you swallow your water.
Thank you.
Which is likelier? The Phils will win the division, or the Phils will win the World Series?
The Phils will win the World Series.
I mean, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Like, that's what we want.
There's a little bit of that in there.
But I also agree with you from the perspective of, like, it's just so hard to win this division because the Braves won't stop being good.
Yes.
It's uncanny how good they are.
And to be honest, if we're like really honest, again, of course, give me a World Series all the time, but I also think it's a harder path for them to not win the division this year and like have to play the wild card round and then all those things. Like, I think one of these years it'd be nice to like not have to worry about that one and then maybe hey, maybe let's let the Braves do that, who don't tend to like come out of the gates in the playoffs doing great. You know what I mean? Or we can just let them complain about that they have to sit around for a 3-game series and their offense can get cold.
I'm having a really hard time picking this one. Because if I'm going on what's likely, I think the odds would say it's likelier that you win the.
I think that's fair.
But I also think the odds would say it's the freaking Braves and they're impossible.
Yeah.
But I've been quoted and I've said it a million times that at some juncture, the Braves cannot all have this type of a year.
Right.
At the same exact time.
Yeah.
I've said it 3 years in a row and they continue to do it.
Yeah. One of these days, though.
They also signed Adam Duvall today.
I saw that.
So, look.
Noted Phillies killer.
Yeah, and noted Jack Fritz guy. I'm going to say it is likelier. I'm going to agree with you that they win the World Series just because they're such a good postseason team.
Yeah.
And the Braves are just, unless there's a complete meltdown in Atlanta, like injuries and seasons where guys just fall apart, I just don't know how they win the division. I want it so badly, Regz, and I'll still probably end up predicting it. But it's difficult to see it happening until they do it. I used to say it about the Phillies during their run.
Right.
You can predict that Miami's going to.
We need to see it happen, right?
But until someone takes it from the Phillies, so I feel like it's only fair for me to say, when I look at this question, it's funny that I'm saying the World Series is likely.
I know, right?
Than the division, but it's because they're not a good regular season team. I shouldn't say they're not a good regular season.
They're a fine
regular
regular
season team. The Braves are a better regular
It's
season.
like the Dodgers. The Dodgers are like the best regular season team we've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you get to the playoffs, it's a different animal, and the Phillies are just a better postseason team. So I think the World Series is likelier. That was fun, buddy.
That was fun.
I liked that game.
So
we'll have to find other ways. Go ahead.
You are going to put these on Facebook.
I will.
Right?
Yeah.
To get the people's answers.
Yeah, I'll put a couple of them up each day.
Yeah.
To see what people think are the likelier of the two. I'll do like one in the morning and one in the evening. Or maybe since there's 10, I'll do like the whole weekend. We'll just keep plopping them up there and see what people say. And I'll put our answers up, when I post it, and people can see if they agree with you or with me or with both.
I like it.
So, yeah, that was good. Curious to see what everybody says. But otherwise, yeah, fun little show. I quick fixated. I just want to say thank you to not just Howie Roseman. I want to say it to Jeffrey Lurie. One of the things that makes what Howie does with the cap doable is that the owner is not afraid to hand out large amounts of cash through signing bonuses, which has no hindrance to the cap. It impacts the cap zero. So the fact that the owner is willing to do that, we are very fortunate to have Jeffrey Lurie and Jack Middleton, because that's what we call him. John Middleton. Now, Jack is the High Hopes name.
Yeah.
But John Middleton, because the two of them they're fine with spending. I know that Commander fans are very excited to have Josh Harris. It's not the same with Josh Harris. Like, he will look like he's doing things and look like he's spending.
Yeah.
But when it comes time to watch the product, it's always missing stuff.
Yeah.
Because he's not willing to invest. It was the same with Iverson he does just enough to make you think,
right.
Oh, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And then it doesn't happen because he doesn't get that he doesn't want to spend on piece. not that he's a bad owner by any stretch. We've had this conversation. He's not a bad, but in comparison to John Middleton and Jeffrey,
oh yeah,
it's not even close.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to somebody about this recently with Lori and like, oh, but what's going to happen when he decides to sell the team? Well, he's not, because his son's going to take over.
Yeah, right.
And it's going to be the same thing. His son's going to do the same thing. He's been shadowing his father for years. He's going to pay that type of money. And that's it. Done and done. We're very fortunate because Howie gets a lot of the credit. And the reason he can do what he does is because Lori isn't afraid to open his wallet and say, here's $25 million up front.
Right.
Because we don't want you to have a major cap hit. So I'm just going to give you this cash. Enjoy it. And I don't even know where he got his wealth from. I forget, but it's something ridiculous.
Yeah. He's got a lot of it.
It's not cigars like Middleton.
That's
but
true.
It's something up there with ridiculous. So.
Yeah.
But that's it. I just wanted to say thanks to Jeff.
Love it.
Another good one for the books. This was 151, right? 150.
That's correct.
All right, 151 in the books. We are on our way. We are on the backslide to 200, folks.
That's right.
So get on board now. When the fire's still stoking, or while we're stoking the flames, whatever it is. I don't even. I need some ice cream. That's where I'm headed. Going to get some ice cream. Anyway, thanks for listening, y'all. Appreciate you. Go ahead and click subscribe on the YouTube channel in the box below us. You can follow us on all your, wherever you get your podcasts, whatever platform you use, go ahead and follow us. Follow us on all social media. If you want to answer these questions, you can follow us on the Phixated page. Follow us on Twitter at Phixated Pod. Follow me at the Mic Drop 5 and Regz at Big Regz with a Z. Make sure you click the merchandise link in the show description below. We will talk to you all. Regz and I'll talk about it because I've got like a 2-week straight deal going here. We got to figure out Phillies preview. So he and I will talk during the week. We'll let you know when we're coming on, but you will get your Phillies preview before we will do all the stuff that leads into the season, all the big conversations, the predictions, everything. But we appreciate you listening. Until we talk to you again, we love you. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. And, thanks, Jeff. Hey, B, go get that batting title, baby.
Go Phils.
Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.